Hello, this is John with Brainstorm Comics and Gaming, and I'm joined by Mr. Sizzle.
What's going on?
He is also known by Chandler, of course. This is this week's Turning the Page. We got an email from a watcher at home, and they wanted to know about you possibly getting some more airtime, getting some more exposure on the show there, Chandler.
Well, I try to spread myself out, diversify my assets, get myself everywhere I can. A little bit of Chandler and everything.
Yeah. And that brings us to our first topic. What character do you feel needs some more exposure? Which one do you feel, whether it be a hero or a villain, which one do you think can move to that next level of becoming a well-known, well-regarded character?
Well, I think for me, Condiment King for Batman. No, I'm kidding. I think in terms of hero, I think if people remember all those many years ago when the new age of heroes was a thing that was super big deal, and they were going to be new heroes coming into DC, and they were all super important. And they were going to redefine the universe and last the test of time. I think no one remembers that because they did not do any of those things.
2 years later.
2 years later, it didn't matter at all. Most of them didn't even make it past 12 issues.
Which was a shame because a lot of them were interesting.
I agree. I think several of them had a lot of potential. I think for me, the two biggest ones that I think had the most potential but were ruined either just by the line being shut down or poor writing, I think were Sideways and Silencer. I think both of those characters had a lot of cool potential. Sideways was shown on the cover of Infinite Frontier, and so people are speculating that there is hope that there is some more for that character in the future, which I think it had potential. I feel like obviously needs a lot more decades and years, but it had sort of a Spider-Man type feel of that young character that like you care about and is funny, has heart, but also has some really cool abilities and some things that make you want to pay attention to it. Silencer was just a really cool, awesome, worked for Talia al Ghul, had this ability, awesome assassin, but also had the husband and kid, and it was that whole, I have this life, I'm trying to get out of it, but I can't have my family know about it. Every time I try to get out of the game, they just drag me back in. Now, she was in the event Leviathan storyline that Brian Michael Bendis did. Now, there was supposed to be another series that was put on ice for a long time, but that looks like that is going to be coming out.
And they have tried to incorporate her very deeply into the DCU.
Yes, they have definitely brought her up a couple times. I feel like, again, she could benefit, if not her own series, definitely having a more regular showing in a book. I think she's a very interesting character. I think she has that family dynamic. She's a woman of color. I think that there is definitely, we've done a lot in improving that in comics, but I do think for the most part, especially the superhero genre, it is still very whitewashed and very male. So I think having a very awesome black female character would be something that would benefit everybody. And again, having that person that people can look towards and they can read, maybe not having an assassin be a role model, but somebody they can look to and see, I see myself in that character.
And if I remember correctly, you love the art on that series, right?
I liked the art after the first 3 issues. The co-creator of that, but I mean, that was written by Dan Abnett, who again,
Abnett's a great writer.
Created by him. So yeah, like he knows what he's doing. Definitely did a great job creating the character. JR did the art for a little bit, but he moved on to greener pastures, so it wasn't for that long. So it didn't have to irk me for very long.
See previous Turning the Pages for Chandler's opinion on.
He did some covers as well, but for the most part, it was not his art that was on the series, which really solidified it for me because I was torn there for a little bit because I really liked the story, but I didn't necessarily love what I was seeing. But it didn't last her forever. And like I said, I don't think either of them needs to be married. I would love it if Dan Abnett could come back on and do something with that character because, like I said, I think he laid foundations of really, really good character development that I think definitely need to be explored more.
Yeah, Abnett's a phenomenal writer. He can take almost any character and make you care about them. Like he'll add a depth to them. Aquaman, he had still makes me sad that they forced him off of that book.
You're telling me. I mean,
Legion of Superheroes.
And now we have Aquaman with no book at all from DC.
Yes. So. My pick is a villain, and I'm going to go back 25 years for her creation. Ron Mars created a character named Fatality. In this one, it's a Green Lantern villain. She had gone off-world to train to be a great fighter, and while she was gone, her planet was destroyed. One of the Green Lanterns had failed her planet to protect it, so she swore vengeance on all of them and to assassinate all of them. It turns out that John Stewart was the one that failed her planet, and so she swears vengeance upon him. And I feel, especially since they're doing this Green Lantern show, I feel like she has the potential to really break out. I feel like Jon Stewart lacks a lot of like really good villains. I think that this one is one that can add a lot of depth to it. Heroes, I think, are well defined by their failures as much as their successes, how they deal with it. So I think with her, there's a potential to delve deep into like what drives her, but also like how that affects Jon Stewart. The best hero villain combinations are ones that are tied together, not just like, oh, I want to hurt you because like I want to take over the world or what have you, but stronger emotions and
Two
drive
sides
in
of
that.
the same coin.
Yeah.
And if I recall correctly, that played a large part in Jon Stewart's character development. Not necessarily her, but the fact that he did fail that planet and let it be destroyed for a while really added his character because yes, he was just completely. It wasn't like oops and like keep being Green Lantern. It devastated him that happened on his watch.
And I know that I don't normally talk about Spec. I think that her first appearance is one that probably will see a huge surge in price if she is used in the Green Lantern show. She has a great look. Her early look was far better than what I think her later look ended up being because she got one of the other power rings to take on the Green Lanterns. But initially, she had like an outfit that kind of played off of the Green Lanterns, and she had like earrings and stuff that had the Green Lantern symbols and stuff like. She looked a lot like Angela from Spawn #9, kind of like that look. It may be why they ended up changing her look so it was less like that one. But I do believe that she has the potential to really break out. I think that they should probably put her back the way she originally was instead of all the changes that they kind of modified her with. I think that, like I said, Jon Stewart needs that villain to really push him and drive him and define him and push him to that next level of superheroism. No thoughts on that outside?
I agree. Like I said, I think Jon Stewart right now he is coming to the forefront of the Green Lantern right now in DC's current Green Lantern series. Hal Jordan is nowhere to be found. He's kind of the main character, obviously with Teen Lantern and Far Sector coming into play a little bit, but he seems like he's going to be the guy that's going to be the main Green Lantern. He'd been in Scott Snyder's Justice League run. He was the Green Lantern that was used.
They've definitely seen that they want to push him. So like I said, he needs that villain that really is his top tier person.
Everybody needs a good arch nemesis and just a couple, everybody needs a solid 2 or 3 that you can fall back on and you can, have that little smile and when you're reading it like, oh man, like look who's back again, type of deal. And you're right. I don't know that he has a lot of them right now. So I think it would benefit him a lot. Yeah.
Because the Green Lantern villains are almost interchangeable. Like, oh, like this one fights all of them because they're Green Lanterns. So, but we will turn the page on that topic. We will stop here for a moment to let you know this will be an abbreviated turning the page. We're only going to do 2 topics. We fell a little bit behind this week because we did a filming of the superhero draft. I know we haven't talked about that much yet. We are hoping to have this up May 1st. What we did is we had 8 teams select 8 different characters and or hideouts. It was 7 heroes, 1 hideout. Turned out pretty well, I think. Chandler and I did the draft analysis for the choices as well. So as I said, we fell a little bit behind because of that. So we're going to do an abbreviated turning the page this week. In addition to that, we want to ask you, of course, to LCS, like, comment, and subscribe. In the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see a little brainstorm symbol. If you click on that, it'll lead you to the subscribe button. Also, we will have a thing at the end where you can click on it to subscribe as well. Obviously, we're closing in on 150 subscribers. Last time I checked today, we were, I believe, 143. We're also closing in on 6,000 views, things that we're very proud of. We're getting a lot of comments now. We're getting more each and every week, which we're very happy about. We want to thank you for giving us your time and putting us in your week and giving us that time outside of just the comic books, but to watch the videos. So we will move on to the next topic, though. And there's a lot of chatter on different comic book YouTube videos. There's a lot of chatter on Facebook groups right now talking about the industry, whether it is in a bubble or not, whether it can continue to grow or whether there is a burst coming on the horizon. Most of them tend to be focusing on the prices of the books. a lot of the Golden Age, a lot of the Silver Age books are seeing an explosion in prices. Incredible Hulk, kind of, you saw me sell probably 8 copies in the last like 6 years. One copy I sold was a 5.0, I think like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. It sold for $2,000. It's like a $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 book right now. So in 2-3 years, it tripled to quadrupled in price. So I'll ask you, what do you think that we're in a bubble? Do you think that these prices are real? Do you think they're fake? Do you think that this is a price correction or what?
I think the short answer is I'm not really sure. Longer answer, I think it's hard to tell. There's a lot of people, well, there's some people who claim that they know the market and they know where it's going, but it's hard to say right now. Like, obviously comics are on the rise, and before, it was just older stuff, first appearances, Golden Age, Silver Age, that stuff has gone up in value, but a new book didn't matter at all. Now
nobody cared about Avengers West Coast,
right? And like little like thing they did, it wasn't just any first appearance.
And then WandaVision,
right? It was a very special character, Wolverine, Hulk, Captain. You had to be a huge name. No one cared about some first appearance of
White
Agatha
Vision.
Harkness or White Vision or things like that. But now with the
people are dropping obscene money on those appearances.
Oh yeah, I know, and I think they might still be going up. Like it's with this explosion of Marvel and Disney and all these movies coming out. DC obviously trying to be in that game as well, but I think Marvel definitely has a hold of that in terms of film right now. With every movie that's announced, there's a jump in those prices of those books. With everything, I don't see Kevin Feige stopping those movies from coming out anytime soon. So I think that is going to keep happening. Will the markets even out and level out and eventually the prices cap off? It's hard to say right now. Right now it seems kind of crazy. It is a crazy kind of world we're living in where, books you thought would have never been the prices that they are now jumping up in price. So
I agree with you in the fact that if somebody asked me, somebody did ask me like 2 weeks ago, like whether I thought the market was going to continue on this trend or not. And I told them, I go, if I knew that, I'd be a millionaire because I'd know when to sell and everything else. I think that if anybody tells you they know whether the market is in a bubble or not in a bubble, they're trying to sell you something, and you should probably walk away from them. Like, take everything that they say with a grain of salt from that point forward. Now, with that being said, I think that obviously Hulk number 181 is always going to be a book that appreciates in value. I think Amazing Spider-Man or Amazing Fantasy 15 is always going to be a book that appreciates in value. There's always going to be blue chip books that are safe. Now, the market can retreat from those books also, but over the long term, they will advance in price and go up. Now, with that being said, like you just said, there are books coming out that start off like $1,000 or within a year become $1,000, and it boggles my mind because there's still plenty of them out there. They're still on eBay. They're still in stores, and they come in at 9/8, and I'm like, of course it's coming in at a 9/8. Everybody knows how to store their books now. Like,
and it just came out. It's not like it's been, you found one from 40 years ago, and like, I can't believe in such pristine condition. Of course it is. It's only been a year.
Yeah. No, I think that some characters, and I'm not saying that they're overrated, but I think that the market is pricing them at least, and this is always difficult because obviously you're talking about from your personal perspective. I think Miles Morales is a great character. I don't know if I would spend $2,000, $3,000 on his first appearance. There's other characters that I would probably put ahead of that. But I do understand, like, he speaks to this generation in a different way than someone who like me, who's 45, like. And again, not that I'm saying he's a bad character. It just doesn't speak to me the same way that it does to like a 20-year-old. Same with Kamala Khan and all of those young characters. Now, the funny thing is, when Young Avengers started 20 years ago, I felt the same way about those characters that like those 20-year-olds feel about the new characters today. So I do, like I said, I still remember that. So I still do understand and appreciate it. The market did not kind of heat up in the same kind of way then. There wasn't the Disney Plus shows. There weren't like all the ancillary things going on, like the video games and cartoons and to the same degree that they are today. So I think that the market still has potential to keep going strong. But as with everything, there's also the potential that people either get bored or fatigued from whatever happens. I told you before we started this, that there's some YouTube guys and some website guys who are like, there's 100,000 Disney Plus subscribers. If only 5% of them get into the market, then the market still has a lot of growth. And but you can't.
But will they?
Yeah.
Is the question. That's easy to say, but Marvel movies aren't new.
Yeah.
Iron Man came out in 2007. Like it's been around for a long time. Obviously, they're way more available with Disney Plus. There's a lot of things going on right now, but the influx, I'd say, obviously, you can't say that no one has turned to comics from those movies. I believe that there probably are a lot of people who have, but in terms of the numbers they're talking about, it has not happened yet. And so far, we've talked about this in previous videos. Neither Disney nor Warner Brothers or any of those companies have campaigned very hard for you to go out and become a comic book reader.
And while I think there's a lot of crossover, what if 50% of those 100 million were only Star Wars fans and not necessarily comic book fans? And like I said, I know there is crossover, so I'm not saying that it would be extensively that, but maybe they were looking for other content from Disney Plus, not specifically the superhero.
They're just trying to watch Disney Channel original movies in the 13th year.
Well, that's also true. Maybe they got it for their kids to watch like the Disney, like the old Disney movies and stuff also.
Not everyone there was somebody who got it just to watch WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. All of those 100 million subscribers don't equate to comic book fans.
No, you and I have discussed this also in the past, though. There are things that they could do to leverage those things into them becoming comic book fans. Dropping that like comic book shop locator website at the bottom of each one of their shows, doing a whole like 30-second advertisement at the beginning where they get one of the characters to act in character, like, hey, do you like my adventures in this show? You don't want to wait 3 years for the next movie? You don't want to wait 1 year for the next season? You don't have to. Go down to your local comic book shop and you can do so weekly. So like I said, there are ways to leverage it. They've had 13 years, 14 years to do that at this point, and they haven't. So I don't think that they
wouldn't count on it. It seems like they've made their bed and they're good with it.
Yeah, they're okay with making their $1 billion movies, which
can't fault them for. You'd think the money cog would want to keep on turning and you'd want more money, but I mean, like I said, you can't fault them for what they've done so far.
I mean, like I said, I think they are leaving money on the table, but like it's Disney. It's
still
not
a lot
like,
of money.
It's not
on
like
the
they're.
table.
It's not like they're crying over. But like I said, in terms of the market, I wish I knew whether we were in a bubble or not. I think that people definitely have a hunger for superheroes. I think that the core audience will be there. And I will say, and I said this before, if speculators want the market to remain strong, find 1 or 2 books that you like to read, not just flip, and you will make the market strong already. Don't think about it just as like, oh, I'm taking this book, I bought it for $4 or whatever, I'm going to turn it for 20, and like actually read some of the content and become invested in it on that level. And I think the market will stay strong if things like that happen as well.
Right. And I definitely don't think the industry is in a place where this is, I mean, and the stock market's not guaranteed, but I don't think this is something where you can go ahead and quit your day job and say, well, I'm just going to sell comics because look how much they're going for right now. You got a chance, but you still have a slim chance. Like you said, it's better to, if you are going to get involved for the love of it, get involved for a character you read, and hey, you might grab a book that ends up going for something one day. But if you're looking at it's a headache to try to be up every single night and looking at things and what it's going to sell for and back and forth. And in my opinion, a little bit more effort than it's worth in a lot of times. And like I said, there's no guarantee that you're going to be making all that money that you've seen that one guy on the internet made for that thing. There's no guarantee that's going to be you. And
as an aside, like we'll throw this one out here for because of what happened this week. Batman Fortnite is a great opportunity for the industry. We've had probably a dozen or so kids come in like looking exclusively for that comic book because of that going on.
Skin.
Yep. If even one of them becomes a comic book subscriber for beyond that title, that's a positive thing, and that allows the industry to grow, and that allows like people to for the medium to continue in a strong pattern also. Yeah. And I think that it's important for the companies to think outside the box like that, putting the skins and stuff like that. I don't think all those kids will stay as comic subscribers, but like I said, if one out of 10, 1 out of 12, I still consider that a win. But
sure, and you have to advertise to that younger generation. Like obviously, that age demographic is not the leading buyer of comics right now. It is still, middle-aged adults, but eventually those middle-aged adults are going to keep aging. And if you're only marketing for that demographic of people, well, you have younger generations that didn't get marketed towards, didn't get those things to why should I care about that? Why should I be invested? I'm just going to watch the show or the movie. I don't want to do that.
Or play
if you're not
yeah.
pushing out to them, if you're not trying to get them involved with it, and I'm not saying that they're not advertising, but I do agree that I think this is a good step. I think they could continue to do more things like that to not pander to them, but to say, hey, this is something you like. This is something you like.
Getting them into the shop is the first.
Yes,
is the first step.
Because eventually those middle-aged people are just going to keep aging and they're going to die out. And if you don't have this new generation of people who want to go in there, that's when you start to have real problems for the industry.
Exactly. So we'll turn the page on this one, though. I'm sure we'll revisit it. We want to thank you again for watching this abbreviated episode. We hope to be back with our full slate of topics next time. Again, if you could be so kind as to LCS, like, comment, and subscribe to the Brainstorm Comics and Gaming channel. Again, down in the bottom right-hand corner, there's the Brainstorm Comics watermark. If you click on that, it'll take you to subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you giving us your time, as we said earlier, and thank you for watching.